Earth, the only planet in our solar system capable of sustaining life. It is also home to billions of species, if not trillions more that we have yet to uncover. Not only does this place teem with a complex network of biodiversity, it is also packed with natural occurrences, landscapes, and breathtaking events that one can only wish to experience in a single lifetime. It's quite unfortunate that people of today tend to get caught up in the vortex of work and domestic life, that they forget there's a bigger, more beautiful world out there waiting to be discovered and marveled at. Mother Nature is full of surprises. Despite its perplexing and unpredictable tendencies, it never fails to leave us in utter wonderment. From the bubblegum pink lakes down under, up to the vibrant and festive northern lights. All of that and more. If only Aladdin's magic carpet ride were here, so we could witness all of these unbelievable sights this very instant. Today, we'll take a whirl through some of the most unique natural phenomena in the world. Stick around to the end to see our number one pick, because it'll leave you mind-boggled and impressed at the same time. Before we move on, welcome to Cleverside, your daily dose of the most exciting information with just a click. We've got a little challenge for you. It'll just take a few seconds if you're fast. Just leave a like on this video, smack that subscribe button, tap the notification bell, and we'll show you all the natural wonders you haven't seen before. Number 15. Blue Volcano, Indonesia. When you think of volcanoes, blue isn't really the first color that comes to mind. That's what Paris-based photographer Oliver Grunewald initially thought as well. This groundbreaking experience changed the game for him when he visited the 13th largest island in the world, Java, the island that houses the mysterious Kawah Ijen volcano, aka the Blue Volcano. Wouldn't you be surprised too? Apparently, the dazzling sapphire blue flames that this unique volcano emits is due to the presence of an active solfatara, a unique volcanic steam vent which gives off strong gases with high levels of sulfur. As if it doesn't sound sci-fi enough, another particular thing it does is it glows in the dark and continues to burn, creating the blazing blues which can only be captured during the darkness of night. Speaking of continuous burn, Number 14. Darvaza Gas Crater, Turkmenistan. Call it the doorway to hell if you like. Even the locals refer to it as the gates of hell. But the truth is, this is no more than a failed attempt by Soviet geologists to stop an inoperative oil field from emitting methane gas. Details on the origin of how this surreal feature in an otherwise barren landscape came about are vague, but the story goes that when the ground under a drilling rig gave way, the Soviet scientists set it on fire to burn off noxious gases. And guess what? The incident happened in 1971, and it's been burning non-stop since. Insane, right? That's almost over 50 years now, and some of you weren't even born yet. Since we've got the heat covered so far, let's dive into the cold this time and find out what's up with the Number 13. Ice Disk in USA. You have probably heard of crop circles before, but did you know that there are ice circles too? Every so often, ice circles, ice pans, or ice crepes, or essentially ice discs, are reported. One in particular was sighted in Prescomscott River in Westbrook, Maine, about 300 feet, or 100 meters in size, making it one of the largest ever achieved. They seem quite bizarre, although they are known to form naturally. No aliens were involved in its conception. It usually occurs in slow-moving water during cold climates. They are thin circular slabs of ice that rotate slowly on a body of water surface. The current keeps the disc in place as it slowly rotates. As the disc turns, it bumps up against the shoreline or other chunks of ice and is essentially lathed down until it is round. Nothing says cool better than this round slab of ice, right? Number 12. Bioluminescent waves, Maldives. This next unique phenomenon can be observed properly when the lights are out because it naturally glows in the dark. In a few special places around the world, like the ones in Maldives, the ocean lights up at night with seemingly infinite tiny blue flashes, making it look like a sea of stars. What exactly causes this so-called magical glow, you ask? Bioluminescence is the term you're looking for. Basically, it is the production and emission of light by a living organism. This chemical reaction is caused by an organic substance called luciferin from bioluminescent critters in the water that gives off light when agitated by the movement of waves and currents. It also takes place when they're trying to lure their prey, scare away predators, or attract potential mates. Phytoplanktons have also been commonly known to exhibit this distinct characteristic, but just for about a second. The most potent critter to demonstrate bioluminescence comes from a species of shrimp called ostracod crustaceans, an astonishing native to the waters of Maldives because it can glimmer longer and more vibrantly than planktons. The aquatic life is indeed full of surprises and exceptional particularities. If you like to move it, then you will find this next phenomenon just as amusing, because these red crabs from down under move it unlike any other species. Number 11. Red crab migration, Australia. Red crabs are native to Australia's Christmas Island. It is estimated that 40 to 50 million of these bright red land crabs live in their preferred shady sites all over the island. Together they leave their homes at the same time and begin a spectacular migration from the forest to the coast to breed and release eggs into the sea. Breeding is usually synchronized island-wide. The annual migration starts with the first rainfall of the wet season. This is usually in October or November, but can sometimes be as late as December or January. The timing of the migration breeding sequence is also linked to the phases of the moon, so that eggs can be released by the female red crabs into the sea precisely at the turn of the high tide, during the last quarter of the moon. Sometimes there are earlier and later migrations of smaller numbers of crabs, but all migrations retain this same lunar rhythm. Mother Nature is clearly showing off quite a lot in Australia, as it houses 7 to 10% of the total biodiversity that exists on Earth. Yes, mate, it's only fitting to say that what's following right up can also be found down under. Number 10. Pink Lake Hiller, Australia. If you find blue, green, brown lakes too mainstream, then take a look at this Lake Hiller, because the water is, to be more accurate, bubblegum pink. Bada bing, bada boom. How you like that? This striking lake was discovered in 1802, and it spans 600 meters in length and 250 meters in width. The reason for its unique color is still unknown. However, most suspect it is the presence of a unique microalgae, Dunalia salina, which produces carotenoids, a pigment present in carrots too. Most visitors catch this picturesque view from helicopters or planes, but the best thing about this lake is it is safe to swim in. If you were given the opportunity to visit any of these unique natural phenomena, where would you go first? Leave us a comment below. Number 9. Devil's Kettle Falls, USA. In Minnesota's Brule River, locals, tourists, and scientists alike have long been puzzled by its enigmatic behavior. Flowing not too far from the northern shore of Lake Superior, the Brule hits a divide as it travels through a cluster of volcanic rock that juts out in Judge C.R. Magny State Park. However, the mystery doesn't lie in the river, rather the waterfall at the other end that seemingly pours into nothingness, commonly known as Devil's Kettle. This natural rocky void has no obvious explanation on or below the surface. People have tried to solve the conundrum of the bottomless waterfall by dropping numerous trivial items into the pothole and casting dyes in an attempt to mark the water, but none of those plans have given anyone any clue as to where all of this water is going. That is until Minnesota's Department of Natural Resources, DNR, got involved. They believe they've cracked the riddle of the enigmatic waterfall, and the theory they were able to come up with is that the plunge pool below the kettle is an unbelievably powerful system of recirculating currents, capable of disintegrating material and holding it under the water until it resurfaces at some point downstream. Number 8. Chocolate Hills, Philippines. Located in the Bohol Islands, Philippines, the Chocolate Hills consist of a group of unusually shaped hills. Some liken them to Hershey's Kisses, or giant Maltesers melted across a huge tray, but they do really resemble chocolate truffles. It's hard to believe that this spectacular place is not man-made, but it is all natural, and this extraordinary landscape is unique to Bohol. What a scrumptious sight to behold! They are scattered throughout the island, though some tourists were disappointed to find out that these legendary hills are not really made of chocolate as the name suggests. This visually stunning peace landscape is for your eyes only. Its origins are quite vague, but the phenomena is quite clear that during the dry season, the hills uniformly acquire a chocolate brown color, and when the wet season falls, this natural beauty creates a luscious green landscape. Interesting enough, no clumps of shrubs or even trees grow on the hills amid its annual transition. In spite of its mysterious origins, recent studies have postulated that the hills were formed from coral limestone, uplifted from the sea, and slowly eroded and formed by the elements into their present shape. What else could have possibly started this extraordinary landscape? Maybe this next piece of wonder could give us a clue. Number 7. Rolling Stones, USA. Who knew there was a literal meaning to the famous Rolling Stones? This geological phenomenon is most prominent in eastern California's Desert Valley, or Death Valley, but it's also been called different names, like sliding rocks, walking rocks, and sailing stones. all because these rocks, as heavy as 300 kilograms, for some reason are able to move along a smooth valley without the help of an animal or a human force. And to add the cherry on top, they also leave long trails as they move. How mind-boggling is that? Really, how does it come about? Well, the journey of these rocks begins with the breaking and melting of large ice sheets in a winter pond. The thin floating ice, otherwise frozen on cold winter nights, when melted, is driven by wind at a speed of 5 miles per minute, resulting in the rocks being able to move and visibly inscribe long tracks along a smooth valley floor. Wow, nature rocks, so much so that it could pull a power slide. Number 6. Spotted Lake, Canada. Knowing what nature is truly capable of, don't you think aliens are a bit overrated by now? Many unexplained phenomena around the world have been linked to aliens for too long that technology eventually caught up and exposed the truth behind every single one of them, and aliens have nothing to do with it, at all. A perfect example of this is the lake located northwest of Ossayus in British Columbia's Okanagan Valley. As most of the water evaporates in summer, hundreds of huge briny pools are left behind, carving a polka-dotted landscape of yellow, green, and blue spots. See? Just because it looks like something you'd potentially find in outer space doesn't mean the aliens did it. Turns out, the colorful lakes that spread over this landform is simply due to high concentration of minerals, including calcium, sodium sulfates, and magnesium sulfate that have converged in the water. For centuries, the Spotted Lake has been considered a sacred place by the indigenous people of the Okanagan Nation. According to the British Columbia Visitor Center, they believed that each of the different circles had different healing and medicinal properties. Needless to say, it's perceived to be the most whimsical place in Canada, and this can only get more whimsical. Number 5. Mushroom fairy rings in France. For thousands of years, the sudden appearance of a ring of mushrooms was a sure sign of otherworldly presences, especially if you have witnessed the one found in Belfort, France, which is thought to be the largest ring ever found. It is approximately 600 meters in diameter and an astonishing 700 years old. These sort of rings would swiftly appear overnight or travel from one location to another with no clear rhyme or reason. But to every folklore and myth, there's a scientific explanation designed to cut your illusions into a million shards. According to experts, these fairy rings, fairy circles, elf circles, or pixie rings are naturally occurring and are basically caused by a fungi called mycelium, which creates a ring or arc shape within the soil, affecting the grass in the area, and it grows up through the greenery, forming a circle of mushrooms, a lovely shape that signifies good luck to some, or a dark omen and nasty lawn problem to others, depending on which side of history you're on. Number 4. River of 5 Colors, Colombia. This River of 5 Colors, locally known as the crown jewel of Colombia's landscapes, or Caño Cristales, is noted for its explosion of natural striking colors. Others even refer to it as the river that ran away from paradise. Caño Cristales is actually indistinguishable from any other river. A bed of rocks covered in dull green mosses are visible below a cool, clear current for the most part of the year. However, for a brief period of time, amid the wet and dry seasons, the river blossoms into a vibrant explosion of colors, literally nature's very own watercolor. When the water level is just right, a unique river weed called Macarenia clavigera sprouts on the outlines of the river floor that turns into a brilliant red. It is offset by splotches of yellow and green sand, blue water, and 1,000 shades in between. This only happens for a brief period between seasons, because if the water flows too fast and deep, it obscures the bottom of the river and denies the Macarenia clavigera the sun that it needs to turn red. And if it were a dry season, there is not enough water to support the dazzling array of life in the river. But for a little window between September through November, the river transforms into a veritable living rainbow. The world is truly painted in Technicolor. From the colorful waters of South America, let's find out what awaits up north. Number 3. Northern Lights, Scandinavia. If you've seen Brother Bear or Balto before, then you know what this is. The Aurora Borealis, or Australis, depending on if it occurs in the north or south, is an optical phenomenon which manifests itself in the atmosphere, with bright spots generally red, green, or blue. Scientifically, it is caused by the interaction of charged particles, protons and electrons, from the Sun with the Earth's ionosphere. In some areas, such as Alaska or Greenland, they may be visible most nights of the year, and they can occur at any time of the day, but they can't be seen with the naked eye unless it's dark, and even more intense during periods of high solar activity, making it a true wonder for the spectators. Number 2. Never-ending storm, Venezuela. Lightning storms are a beautiful, but also quite menacing atmospheric phenomenon. The bright bolts are triggered when the electric activity is particularly abundant during a storm. The longest and most intense lightning storm recorded lasted for hours on end and occurred in Los Angeles, July 9, 1999. The highest rate of lightning storm was recorded in Venezuela, close to the Maracaibo Lake, with 232 lightnings per year. Catatumbo lightning occurs over the mouth of the Catatumbo River, where it empties into Lake Maracaibo in Venezuela. It originates from a mass of storm clouds at a height of more than 1 kilometer and occurs during 140 to 160 nights a year, 10 hours per day, and up to 280 times per hour. Though Lake Maracaibo is sprawling with treacherous storms, some are still drawn to it, like an Icarus drawn to the flame. They would stay put in the face of certain danger to witness the breathtaking sight of the electric storms. And taking the top spot as the most unique natural phenomenon in the world is Number 1. Fingal's Cave, Scotland. This astonishingly geometric cave has inspired everyone, from Jules Verne to Pink Floyd. Yup, those are not names you usually hear in the same sentence. But then, the place that they all share is itself quite uncommon. Known as Fingal's Cave, it bears a history and geology unlike any other cave in the world. This geological sculpture that Mother Nature carved herself stands at 72 feet tall and 270 feet deep. What makes it even more visually astounding is its hexagonal columns of basalt, shaped in neat six-sided pillars that make up its interior walls. These fractured columns form a crude walkway just above the water level so that visitors can go far inside and explore the cave. And there you have it, Cleverlings, your epic virtual tour to some of the most unusual occurrences in the world. Wasn't that just awesome? Indeed, we live in a wonderful world, and we should do our best to keep it that way. Oh, and please, if you like this video, smash that like button. It shows your support. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscription button and notification bell so you won't miss anything. You can also let us know about other topics you want us to cover. Here are some of our other videos you might like. Check them out. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.